Sorry, I got diverted.
You ready for us to go ahead?
Whenever we're ready.
Okay. Miss, I'll give you the roadmap for the end.
I think you're on mute, Miss Roberts. Oh, we can't hear you anyway. Oh, hang on. It's just me.
I'm like, we've got a really serious problem if we're still can't hear it. Okay. I was going to say, Ms. Grande, I'm going to do family and community support services first, and then we'll wrap up with recreation. So Ms. Entler, if we could have the statement for family and community supports from Ms. Grande. And I'll just ask, I think that's good, actually. So, Ms. Grande, you primarily you're I would say, based on the coding of your salary within the accounting documents in the town, I take it the primary focus of most of your responsibilities are with recreation and family FCSS. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And is there a division that you're aware of in terms of how much is allocated as between family and community support services and recreation?
Yes, FCSS is less than recreation. I can't remember the exact portioning. I don't know if it's in here. Used to be 40-60, but I can't remember if that's still the division.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. So you think it's slightly weighted towards recreation, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I think when we first spoke, I was asking you about the transit statement that you signed. You had let me know that you'd been with the town for a considerable period of time, and you'd kind of moved through a few roles. Can you remind me? I'm sorry, I don't remember. When you first started working in FCSS?
In 2006.
And was recreation 2008, or was it around the same time?
I started out working in FCSS, and I was there for about, I think it was 4 years. And then I did recreation FCSS, I believe, for 1 year because there was a mat leave that ended there. So I was doing both. And then I think I switched over to recreation shortly following that, was there for another 4 years, and then became the director of community services for the last 6 years.
Okay, and so now you're the boss of recreation and FCSS, is that right?
I don't call myself that, but a director.
Are both of those portfolios though under you, like they report to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll call you the boss. Just okay, so if I can have you look at paragraph 2, please, of your statement. You reference a programming agreement in that paragraph. That's sort of the third line down. And then what you append there is a bylaw 1073. That's at page 5, if you wanted to look at it. And in that, you reference also a June 3, 1991 agreement. The bylaw itself is dated. I'm just going to scroll down, sorry. Should have written that down. 1994, September 12, 1994. You don't attach the agreement, correct?
No, this is just 1994. And then I think in the overall general section, we have the last 2 cost sharing agreements.
The 2008 and then the amending, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and those are the ones you referenced in paragraph 3 here, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last of those, so those agreements now have terminated / expired, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If I have you quickly look at paragraph 4, you say the town leverages approximately $510,000 per year in additional social service funding annually through provincial contracts and grants that county residents have access to. You see that?
Yes.
You might win an award for the longest sentence in this paragraph, actually. What I wanted to ask you was, what does leverages approximately $510,000 mean? What do you mean by it?
So we use a small portion of FCSS funds or dollars for the portions that qualify under FCSS to be able to apply for other grants to support programs and services. So outside of the FCSS grant that we receive from the province, we receive an additional $510,000 per year for social service programming.
Above and beyond the FCSS funding.
Yes.
Okay. And are those, is all of that funding accounted for in the FCSS budget?
Yes, it's in the 52 section. So the 51 is just our portion for through that's the provincial and the 20% matching plus any additional overage. And then the 52 function is for all of those additional. They all balance at zero.
Okay. So if I can have us turn to tab 12 in your statement. Sorry, I should have given you the page number, Ms. Antler. Forgot. So I think what you're saying, I now follow, I think what you're saying. The first page there on page 37, that's the general, the part where you're talking about province 20% matching. That's what falls under that first function 51 on page.
Correct.
Okay, and then the second one is a subfunction for administration, right? It's still under 51.
Correct.
Okay, and then, sorry, I'll be more clear. The third page, page 39, again, a subfunction of 51, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then I'm going to flip ahead to page 42. And there we have the FCSS specific number 52 that you're talking about, and that is the additional funding that you're mentioning, I take it.
Correct.
Okay, and so that's where I see some of these mentioned in your statement. Now I follow. Okay, so you've got the food bank, family violence initiative, early childhood, etc. You see that?
Correct.
And so that funding's separate because the food bank is not covered under the provincial FCSS, for example, right?
Correct. There's only very small portions of the food bank that can be funded through through the guidelines of the provincial FCSS, and that's kind of like the guidebook is there, but it's like volunteer training. There's only certain things that can be attributed through the FCSS funding.
Okay. And so is there if we stay on page 42, all of this funding that's listed here, where it says revenue, is all of that money under revenue? So the total revenue, for example, in the 2021 budget is $624,298. All of that is from outside sources, none of it matched by the town, is that correct?
In the revenue section, yes, that's correct.
And then that balances out with the expenditures. I'm just going to stick with 2021 budget for now. So if we're looking at revenues at $624,298, so is expenditures. And those amounts are where you spend that income that you've listed above, right? Or revenue rather.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. And so part of your job as the community services director is overseeing the administration of all of these funds that are listed in tab 12 of your statement, right?
Correct.
And what you're saying in paragraph 4, I take it then in part, is that all of those services that are represented on those various sub-function pages in tab 12, of the 510, and you put approximately the 510, can I just take you back to the one we were looking at a moment ago? Sorry, I'm just gonna find the number. Page 42, when we have section 50 or function 52, which is the what I'll call non-province FCSS funding. Do you have a better name for it? I know you didn't give it a name here, but I'm gonna call it the non-FCSS provincial funding, since it looks to me like it's fairly specialized, and you said it's separate from that, right?
It does have provincial funding. It's just not provincial FCSS directly funding. It does have provincial funding. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's provincial contracts separate from what we receive.
Okay, so what we'll call this is the function 52 funding. All of that money that comes in and goes out through the town based on, I'm still going to look at the 2021 budget numbers. That goes to those various subject matters that are, so you get funding specifically to do, I think the first one is family community liaison, is that right?
Correct.
And then similarly, the family violence, et cetera, right?
Correct.
And am I correct in understanding that these, well, at one point at least, were called social services grants? Is that right?
Correct.
Is that still their name?
They all have different names now.
Okay. I noticed the government likes to change the names of even the department every so often, so I can never stay on top of it. Okay. So this is what I'll call then loosely social services funding, as distinct from the very specific FCSS funding that you're talking about in, for example, paragraph 5, you talk about 59% of FCSS funding comes from the province through the town's FCSS grant agreement. That's that category, or the function 51 funding, right?
Correct.
Thank you. So am I correct in understanding when you're talking about the 510 roughly, 510,000 a year that you leverage, what you're saying is you receive the grant funding and you then distribute it by funding those, for example, on page 42 of your statement, the different items that are there, family community liaison, food bank, family violence, et cetera. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then in addition to that, you also have the FCSS funding. It comes in through the province's FCSS grant agreement to the town specifically, right?
Correct.
And we see that captured on page 37, I believe, although maybe I'm not correct about that. So I'm just going to ask you to maybe help me if I've misunderstood that. I think it's actually on page 38, and it's transfer from province, which is in 2021. Let's stick with the green column. 264,769 is the number that you referenced in paragraph 5, right?
Correct. And
you're saying that's 59% of your FCSS funding, right?
Approximately. It fluctuates a little bit from year to year depending on what expenditures we have, but roughly.
And then when it says transfer from local government, the 121,673, what's that number there?
That's the Woodlands County cost share contribution.
And so is that what you're talking about in paragraph 5 when you say that the county could redirect their portion of the FCSS funds to the town, sorry?
I'm talking about the county grant agreement. They receive 127,000 directly from the province for FCSS.
So different than the cost share contribution that you're calculating here for 121,673.
Correct. That's their grant amount that they receive from the province directly that goes to them.
127.
Yes, is what I took it off of what the county has advertised that they receive from the province. It's in the appendix. I attached it.
And then the numbers in account 1-850 on page 38 is transfer from local government. Those are amounts that Ms. Barney or her team have put together saying this is what the county has to pay the town for the delivery of FCSS services. Is that right?
1 second. On page 38, the
Yeah.
850, line what, 850 you were saying?
1-850. Yeah, the one that in 2021
Yes.
is 121,600.
Yes, yes.
So not from their FCSS. Are you saying that is their FCSS funding, or you're saying they're paying in addition to that?
So the county receives a grant directly from FCSS for 127,000. I don't know how they apportion that. But their cost share amount to the town using the cost share formula in the cost share is this line 1,850. So I don't know if when they provide us this, they could be giving some of their grant, or they have to provide 20% matching. They could just be providing us funding. I don't know if it's coming from their grant or not. That's their decision.
And do you report back what to what purpose for example, if we use the 2019 actual, the 132,588, do you report back to the county as to what specific programs or services were provided with that funding?
Yes, they have a representative on the Community Services Advisory Board, and we do monthly reports and annual reports. And they're provided that copy to take back to their council. And sometimes their council requests that I do a presentation at their council meeting as well. We offer it, and it's up to them whether they want us to do it or not.
Okay, and you haven't provided an example of that in your statement, correct?
No, I didn't. I don't think I provided a full year-end report because it's the Community Services year-end report. No, I didn't provide the whole document.
And you don't have a monthly example in here, do you?
No, I don't.
And so is it, when you say to me that at the committee, the Community Services Committee, there's someone from county, is it someone from the council that you're saying that gets the report?
Yes.
Okay, and you're saying that your understanding is that person's responsibility is to bring that information back to county council?
Yes.
Okay. You don't know whether that actually happens, I'm assuming.
No, I don't attend their meetings unless invited.
I have a question about one other document in tab 12 on page 38, where we are. If we scroll down on that page, there's a transfer to reserve, which is account 2-764. And the number fluctuates somewhat, although not tremendously, it seems, except in 2020, the actual was 93,217. Do you know what that's about?
See what function this is under. No, I don't. That's usually our computer. No, I'm not sure.
Okay. It's just a large number in the context of the 368 for the year. So I was just wondering, since it doesn't seem to, it otherwise looks like it's somewhat similar year to year, other than there's a small bump in 2019 actual, but you don't have any memory of knowing what that was?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know when that occurs, when there's a significant increase in a line item like that, whether that factors into the cost share request from the town to the county?
The county doesn't share in our reserves, so that line item wouldn't affect their cost share contribution.
Okay. Thanks. Both the town and the county have the 20% matching obligation, right? It's per province-wide, correct?
Correct.
Can I just ask you to turn to paragraph 9 of your statement? It's on page 3. And there you say, in the second last sentence, right before you get to the reference to the appendix 6, all of the county receives general benefit from the FCSS services offered. I take it that's, first of all, that sounds like an opinion. Is that your opinion?
The stats show that residents from throughout the county attend our programming and services.
Okay, so you're not saying all county residents or all of the county, you're saying people from every sort of region within the county have utilized services. Is that what you mean?
Well, they also benefit because if you look at the AMSC principles and so forth, the document that's in here, they benefit because these types of services attract doctors and those types of things to the community. So that's how there is a general benefit there.
Okay. So you're making that statement, and the basis for your statement is some principles set out by AUMA.
Yes.
You haven't attended, other than the one tab that you have, which shows your statistics summary. I think that is tab 10. That was the one that was amended, I think, or we have a revised exhibit. I apologize that I've forgotten the exhibit number offhand, but you had provided a replacement for this document. I'm just going to grab my copy. Oh, tab 10, sorry, it was at page 34, but we have a different document. Great, thank you. I think yours is the correct one, Ms. Sandler.
Yes.
But I can't really see it. Right, so I think we have in front of us the corrected version of tab 10. Does that look great to you, Ms. Grande?
Yes.
Okay. And so this summary of user statistics again, is it fair to say that you used a similar process as we talked about with respect to the municipal center and with respect to transit? To some extent relying on the post office employees to assist you in determining who may or may not be a resident of something other than Whitecourt?
Just for the box numbers.
Right, where it says with only box number. This one's a little bit shorter, but it says with only box numbers, or for example, you're including Mayerthorpe and Barrhead, different counties, because of the possibility that someone may have a box there, but they may live in Woodlands County. Is that right?
Correct.
And was there a reason the numbers changed? Was it just a typographical error, or did information come in after you swore the statement or signed the statement, sorry, and you provided the updated document?
Yeah, no, so the raw data matches this one. It just didn't pull over one of the, we have to do two documents. We can't get a direct report. We actually have to verify two documents, and one portion didn't pull over just into this spreadsheet, but the raw data matches what this is. So none of the information changed. It was just typos in this section because of that.
And so there, when you're talking about, you're relying, I take it, on these numbers and saying there's at least two people in certain areas, or there's whatever number is listed there in Woodlands County, Woodlands in address, Anselmo, Lone Pine, Blue Ridge, et cetera, to say that people from different regions utilize at least some FCSS service. Is that what you're saying?
For sure. And there's another chart below that shows that the breakdown as well, with some additional ones from those areas.
Sorry, and I'm looking at the document that got edited, the part of it that says FCSS registered programs. Are you looking at the number above, the numbers in the top table?
No, there's another section below it. Oh, there too. So those ones also show this breakdown.
Right. So now we're looking at the one, you're looking now specifically at the part labeled early childhood parent ed, that one?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And there we'd say, but for Lone Pine, which has a 0, but everything else, everybody, there's at least some people getting service, right?
For sure. Yes.
Excuse me. To the extent that you say in paragraph 11, the town of Whitecourt provides administrative support and management for FCSS programs and services, grant and contract proposal writing, management and reporting, and payroll and accounting services. And I take it that that contributes to the apportionment of the administrative overhead that's being sought, correct?
There would be a portion, but a portion's directly in the budget as well.
Right. So you've calculated those costs historically, not just once since the town started doing administrative overhead calculations, right?
We haven't done administrative overhead calculations
But even
in the past.
in the past, you still captured these amounts that you're describing in paragraph 11 in those bullets there. That cost to do that work would have been captured as part of what you asked for example, from the county for a cost share.
No.
There was no cost for administering the FCSS services previously claimed.
Correct.
But now you want that. The town does.
Correct. Well, I don't know. I'm not saying we want it. I'm just saying there's a breakdown.
And that's true for any municipality that administers those services and provides, to the extent that a municipality receives a grant, applies for the grant, administers the grant, distributes the funds, and pays people to do their jobs, they're going to incur those costs too, correct?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yep. You say that Woodlands County gets FCSS funding and so does the town, right?
Correct.
And so to the extent, I appreciate there's some differences in how those funds are administered between town and county, but to the extent that the county's administering FCSS funding and are applying for those grants and utilizing county resources, they are also incurring costs as you describe here for the town in paragraph 11.
I can't say what Woodlands County is incurring because I don't know.
But you would assume that a municipality in doing this work would not be having somebody doing it as a volunteer.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a cost to doing administrative work, I think is what you're saying in paragraph 11. Is that fair?
Yes,
That's the reason that historically your salary has been coded in part to FCSS, correct?
yeah, because I oversee the staff, I'm involved with it, answer questions on a regular basis. I'm involved in the program delivery.
And am I correct in understanding from your previous answer that you're saying that cost, that apportionment, the coding of your salary to FCSS is not captured in the cost share amounts that were, so for example, when we looked at that 101,000 before, that wouldn't have included any portion of your salary? Do you want me to go back to page 12? Oh, sorry, it's not page 12, it's tab 12. And the number that we specifically ended up looking at was on page 38 for the 2021 budget. We can use an earlier number where it was actually paid. So let's go with 2019. The 2019 number is 132,588. And I just want to make sure I'm following you correctly, whether or not the coding of your salary to FCSS is captured at all in that 132,588.
So what was the number you're talking? Could you show me what number you're referring to?
For sure. Yeah. So I'll slow this down, go backwards. Okay. So on that page that we're on, 5101 subfunction. Okay. So I'm back to the 2019 actual, and I'm using actuals because the 2021 we haven't followed that in 2021 to date because of this arbitration. So let's go back to an actual number that you have. So 2019 actual, you have transfer from local government. I understood your previous answer to be that 132,588 would have been what the town asked the county to pay to the town.
Yes.
And what I'm asking you right now is just whether or not when Ms. Barney told me that a portion of your salary is coded to FCSS and a portion of it is coded to recreation, I'm asking, does that get captured in that $132,588?
Yes, it does.
So to be abundantly clear, the administrative overhead part is new, but the apportionment of the cost of what it costs the town to do the work of administering FCSS has been captured in the cost share in the past.
Not all of it.
Right, but some portion of it has been captured.
My salary.
Okay, and now in the new administrative overhead, it's not just your salary, it's other people's salary or wages and benefits too, is that right?
Correct, for payroll and things like that. Yeah, that are listed on there.
Thank you. And that's the portion that had not been attributed to a cost share in the past, right? The entirety of all the administrative overhead. So not just your salary, but the staff in your departments, the cost for the town to administer that work for your department, that now is being apportioned to the cost sharing in the proposal that's set out in Ms. Barney's, I think my friend took you, Ms. O'Kelly took you to the tab that is in Ms. Barney's statement with the green lines, and it was the one where it said library, whatever, you didn't know the answer to the question. Page 79 of Ms. Barney's statement. So it's there in front of us. If I look at that, and there's FCSS on there, and we go across that line, the FCSS information in the past only included a portion of your salary, and now it's including all of the administrative overhead, which includes both salary, benefits, and whatever other expenditures get apportioned into the administrative overhead, right?
No, the FCSS staff are all in the FCSS function. This is administrative overhead, so it's like payroll, payroll, HR, those things that are associated to those staff, the portion that would be associated to my staff that are in the FCSS function.
Okay. So not your salary wouldn't be captured in here, right?
Correct.
Because it's just permanently coded. Okay, I understand. So the 3.20%, that's the cost share administrative overhead in this projection by Ms. Barney, that is everybody but you. Right?
It's the ones that are listed on the, here, sorry, it's on a different tab. Oh, this is in Miss Barney's. There should be a tab in mine.
It's
Just one
11.
second.
It's 11 in yours, so it's page 35.
Right. So these are the ones that make up the that percentage right here. So it's just, if you look at it, it's salaries and benefits for the corporate services department at 3.2 is what that portion makes up on that sheet in Miss Barney's. And so that would be like payroll, HR, grants, proposal writing, grant reporting, so forth. That's all that would be.
Okay. And then again, on this one where it says administrative expenditures of 12,463, you don't know what that is, or do you?
That would be, I think, the portion of like the to operate, like the costs associated with the staffing at this building, because they're at a different building than where FCSS operates out of. So that's the direct, a portion of the direct hard costs, apportioned at the same amount.
Okay.
It's coming back to me. Sorry, I didn't have it for the library one.
I think it might have been a different one than the library one too, but that's okay.
Okay.
You've got a lot. You've got a lot. I get it. Okay. I think we've already talked about this in paragraph 12, the Community Services Advisory Board. That's the same board we talked about before. It's an advisory, doesn't have binding power, but recommendations go back to council, correct?
Correct.
And there is one position from the county on that advisory board, is that right?
There's a position, there's a town councillor position, and then the public members can be from the town or the county.
Right, no guarantee in any given year, it's just sort of whoever is there.
Correct. It's been, well, my notes say it here. It's been about 40% county in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
On the entire committee, or you mean among the public members?
Among the public members.
Okay. And who chooses the public members?
Town council.
And I take it the county council gets to choose who they have sit on that committee.
Yes.
Can you look for 1 second at paragraph 15 of your statement? It's on page 4. You refer in that paragraph to 3 fleet vehicles. I think I understand you to be saying that FCSS has access to 3 fleet vehicles, and you say they're shared with the town's recreation department. Am I understanding they're shared between FCSS and recreation?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and the offices for FCSS are in the Alan and Jean Miller Center, and then you say, and the Carlin Services Community Resource Center. So is that because the staff are split between 2 locations?
Yes.
Okay, and the 3 fleet vehicles, is the cost to own, operate, maintain those also included in the cost share?
So the equipment, it's based on the mileage that we use them. And so there's a mileage rate that is coded depending on the use of them. So it's the exact use on that mileage that is cost shared.
So can I have us pull up the statement, the reply statement from Heather Anderson on FCSS from the county, please? I just have a couple of questions. Have you reviewed this statement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If I can have you turn on page 10 to paragraphs 30 and 31. There, Ms. Anderson says in 31 specifically, if you want to read them for a moment, you can. In 31, she says that under the agreement or the arrangement between the town and the county with respect to FCSS funding, unless it was explicitly agreed between the two municipalities, she said the town alone decided where the funding was allocated. Is that your experience as well?
No.
Okay, what's your experience of it?
We have a cost sharing agreement in place. There is a member on the Community Services Advisory Board. The Community Services Advisory Board does planning sessions and looks at programming based on that and the service level. Based on that, the county rep has input on that. County public members have input on it, and administration at the county and the town have had a very good working relationship. And if they see something that they feel that their residents need, they definitely pick up the phone and give us a call, and we have a discussion about it. So I think it's been a partnership in the past and continues to be a partnership.
I'm talking about specifically where funds are allocated. And so I'm going to have you turn to your paragraph 12. So there you're talking about the Community Services Advisory Board, which is I think the board you're talking about when you just gave the answer you gave. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. And so you say there in that statement that representation on the board was and remains at 40% county, 60% town, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say that on page 4, the board hosts an annual planning session in which service levels are discussed and set and subsequently are represented in the annual budget that's reviewed by the board and recommended to council, right?
Yes.
And the decisions are ultimately made by town council, correct?
They ultimately are, but even county administration sometimes attends those meetings and has those discussions at those meetings regarding budget. They'll sit in my office and go line by line through me with the budget, and we'll have discussions in regards to it. So I wouldn't say ultimately the county council does, but there's great input from Woodlands.
Am I correct that there's actually only one person on the board currently from the county?
No.
Okay, so there's the county council position, and who else?
There is, do you want me to name them? Dave Arcan, Vince is from the county as well.
Are those people in the representative capacity on behalf of an organization?
No, they're public.
There are 2 public member positions, I thought you said. Am I wrong about that?
There's, yes, there's 2 right now that are on from the county. There's Dave Arcan, Vince Monroe. Just going through the others, see who else is from the county. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So 3 in total, the 2 that you just mentioned, and then the council position, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Can I have us pull up your recreation statement, please? Going to tab 19, it's at page 344.
Are we moving off FCSS?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Thanks.
Almost, but not there. Okay, so Ms. Grande, you see this document that's in front of us at tab 19 of your recreation statement. It's called Community Spectrum. This is the 2019-2021. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And this is your statement. So I take it you're familiar with the document, right?
For sure.
Okay. And this document gets produced, well, I've just reviewed it, so I'm going to make an assumption and ask you the question. I see that this document seems to get produced every year. Is that right?
Quarterly,
Quarterly, did you say?
yes,
Yeah, so this one is for the 3 months between December of 2019 and February of 2020, right?
yes,
And then there are subsequent versions available. There's a current version now, correct?
yes,
And historically, the county has, this represents both recreation as well as some FCSS programming, am I right?
correct.
And the county you describe as a partner in a lot of the programming, and I think that you say that in your statements, both with respect to recreation and FCSS, correct?
Correct.
And this document, I was not able to find at tab 19 a page where I could see any representation of the county in the contents other than on page 346, of which if we scroll down. And it could just be that I don't spot it as easily as you do, but I see the Woodlands County logo on that page there. Do you see it with me?
For sure, and it says everything in here is cost shared by the county.
Right. And then if you, this document starts on page 345, I think. Hold on, sorry, I'm gonna go back. 344 and goes until 411. And the only place I can see that reference to the county is just that one page. And I think that seems to be true for the various versions that I've been able to locate. Have you ever turned your mind to that and looked for that?
Yes, there are some that, yeah, that's the main page that we talk about the cost share on. Right there, the one that's up on the screen.
Right. So they get a logo on one page and then the rest of it is essentially Whitecourts on every other page. There's also some funders, some sponsors, right? Like Pembina, for example. You have some sponsors for some services, I take it?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and then they get their logo on there, right?
Yes.
Okay. If I can have us just quickly turn back to page 38, please, of your FCSS statement. If I go back to the 2019 actual, the 132,588 that we talked about earlier, that number is approximately, and I'm just using eyeball math, so I could be completely, not completely correct, but it looks like about 1/3 of that $383,000 across the various. So there's budget for 2021, 121 versus 264 out of 386. If I look across that line there, with the transfer from province, transfer from local government, and the total revenue for the FCSS function 51, it looks to me like the county contribution, that is the payment over for cost share, is approximately in the 30% range. Is that your recollection as well, administering this department?
It's has been in the past 24.8%.
Okay, and that's and recreation also has been in the similar range, correct?
Yes, that's before has been a population adjustment.
So it's gone up a little bit, right?
It should be at 26.5 if you're using the old cost sharing agreement.
Okay, and so roughly a quarter of the amount spent or available to be spent on those items was being contributed by the county to the town, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I may pause for 1 minute or less, Ms. Howes, I can hopefully wrap this one up.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm having to use somebody else's laptop and not quite mastering that. Those are all my questions for you, Ms. Grande. On that statement. Do you want me to carry on to, or would you like to determine whether there's any redirect?
Mr. Ward, any redirect?
I have nothing arising. No, thank you.
And I have no questions, so let's move on.
Okay, so if we could have you turn to your recreation statement, I think we already had it open. Just gonna flip to mine here. Drop and paper here. Okay, so Ms. Grundy, I think if I understood you correctly, when I asked you about how long you'd been in each role, I think with respect to FCSS, you started in 06, you did that for about 4 years. You spent about a year doing both FCSS and recreation, then another 4-ish years doing recreation, and then you moved into community services. Do I now have that right?
I moved into the director position. I've always been in community services.
Sorry, right, you moved, you became the boss in my language. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yes.
So you've been doing recreation in some capacity or another since about 2010, is that right?
I believe it was, because 'cause the center opened 2011, yeah, 11, was
Okay.
around, I don't know. It was
I won't wait
right
you-
around there.
Roughly 10 years.
Yes, yeah, somewhat.
Great. Okay, thank you. The service level that, if I can just have you talk about service level in a few different places, and you again reference the Community Services Advisory Board. Specifically, you talk about that a little bit in paragraph 1, and then in paragraph 21, you specifically focus on service levels. And I take it the level of service there that you're talking about when you're saying it's determined by the Community Services Advisory Board, that's the town's board. That's, and we talked about it a moment ago, and you said it has some representation from the county, but ultimately it's accountable to the town council, correct?
Correct.
And those service levels then are set with a view to the town's priorities, although with input from the members of that board, which includes some representatives from the county, right?
Correct.
The board has no specific mandate to answer to the county, right?
Well, the council appointed representative, like the council member, would have a mandate to report back to the county.
Is that part of the board's terms of reference? Do you know?
I know it's not the part of the board's terms of reference, but I think it would be the role of a council person, and maybe the Woodlands County would have that, but as a council rep, that's your role.
Okay, so I think you're maybe guessing. Is that right?
Well, a council person's role is to report, when they're appointed to a board, is to report back to their council.
Okay, I want you to give evidence about the things that you know. Do you know that it is the council member's role on that board to report back to county council?
No.
Okay, great. So what I really just wanted to get at was the board, the Community Services Advisory Board, cannot direct county council to do anything, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And similarly, it can't really direct town council to do anything. It has an advisory role, and the council has a duty to respect the fact that it has representation and should listen to it, right?
Correct.
But it's not bound by it.
Correct.
Okay. And so when you say the service levels are determined by the board and public input, it's ultimately determined by council with input from those parties, right?
Correct. The Community Services Board presents it to council.
Okay. And I think the point you were making a moment ago with respect to the data, the census data, I think you used the number 26.5%. Was that right?
Correct.
And I think that's in your paragraph 3 of the statement. And that was under the old cost share agreement. You were using census-based data, right?
Correct.
And so in your paragraph 3, you refer there to the 26.5. That's based on the 2016 census, is that right?
Correct.
Are you aware that the county had a concern about the breakdown of data provided by the federal government under that 2016 census?
No.
If I can have you look at paragraph 4, you refer to a number of facilities there, including Rotary Park and Eastlink Park and the Mountain Bike Park, which you also referenced then in other locations within your recreation statement. Is it fair to say, with respect to specifically Eastlink Park and the mountain bike, well, specifically, we'll start with one of them. With Eastlink Park, contributions to Eastlink Park are handled currently, they're handled directly by the county on behalf of itself to Eastlink Park or the society that operates it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so in the past, you're referencing there had been an agreed cost share for, you say in the last line of paragraph 4, 50-50 on the operational costs of these two facilities. And I believe there you're talking about the mountain bike and Eastlink Park, right?
Correct.
And those were, I'm just going to use some like lay terminology. So if I say, it looks to me when you spell those costs out, for example, on the mountain bike park, it's in paragraph 7 and 8 of your statement on page 3, and you lay out some itemized amounts and then specific references of what they're for. So if I look at the first one, paragraph 7, there's an amount for a trail workshop, an enhancement grant in 2015, 2017, there's a phase 2, 2018, there's another enhancement grant, for example, and you've got, these are the amounts that the town contributed, right?
Correct.
And the county also contributed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so those amounts, when I look at these, is it fair to say that these amounts that are listed in paragraph 7 and 8 of your statement are like equivalent to seed money or foundational funding, so that is to get something off the ground or do a redevelopment? It's not operating grants to continue operating. Is that right?
No,
It's wrong?
it's wrong.
Okay, so tell me what it is. It looks like it's described as though it's something other than maybe what it is. So what is it?
So portions of it are capital contributions, and then portions of it are annual operating contributions. So if you look at 2018 under number 8, there's $6,000 for operating.
Right. Just let me stop there for a second. I was pointing out the numbers under 15, 16, 17, 18 under 7 first. So let's start there. I don't see any operating reference in those numbers.
Yeah, sorry, Ms. Roberts, you were just asking about paragraph 7 right now. Is that right?
Yes, I am only asking about 7.
Those are capital contributions. And there is a little bit of tourism to get like some advertising and stuff, which would be considered capital. And there is a little bit of a trail workshop, which wouldn't be capital.
Okay. And so is it the town's intention to fund the mountain bike park indefinitely?
There was operational, we did agree, the town and the county to provide operating funds to the mountain bike park at the joint liaison. And so it is the intention that we will be providing operating funds of $5,000 per year for the operation of the mountain bike park.
And the county is an independent entity, correct?
Yes.
And it has no signed agreement with you obliging it to provide operating grants for the mountain bike park, correct?
No. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, it's okay. I took your no as meaning yes. So, okay. And then in paragraph 17, when you say in 2017, the county passed a motion to unilaterally reduce its contribution from 50% to 24.8%. You see that? In your paragraph 7? It's like halfway through that paragraph.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying in the previous year, they provided, or maybe 2 years, they provided 50-50, and then they went down to just under 25% of whatever the costs that were being sought, right?
Correct. They agreed to 50-50. I don't know if they provided 50-50, but they agreed that it would be on a 50-50 basis going forward on the capital contributions. And then in 2017, they made a motion to reduce from the 50-50 to 24.8 on the capital contributions.
Right, and you acknowledge in that paragraph, there's no written agreement requiring both municipalities to fix their contributional amounts, right?
No, there isn't an agreement. That's correct.
Okay. You mentioned in paragraph 4 the $10,000 contribution to Two county recreation facilities, Groat Creek Group Campground and the Hard Luck Canyon, right?
Correct?
Okay, and so that's a combined amount of $10,000 and it's fixed, right?
Correct?
And the county's contributions to the town's recreation costs have not been fixed, am I right?
Correct.
The Mountain Bike Association that you referenced in paragraph 6, it's again, a separate legal entity from the town or the county, right?
Correct. The town has an operating agreement with the Mountain Bike Society to operate the mountain bike park.
Right, and that's independent of the counties, right?
Correct.
And then that agreement that you have, the operating agreement that you referenced, that expired on March 31 of last year, the one that's at Appendix 4. Is there another agreement in place?
We were waiting for the outcome of negotiations before we continue to sign a new one in case there need to be some amendments, but we're operating under the current agreement as agreed by both parties right now.
Okay, as between the town and the Mountain Bike Association?
Yes.
Okay. And then similarly, you mentioned the Whitecourt Motocross Association. That also is an independent, like a third party legal entity, correct?
I didn't mention the motocross in my.
Okay. Sorry, Ms. Kennedy, I think mentions that in her statement, sorry. So you're aware of the Whitecourt Motocross Association, right?
I don't know a lot about it.
Okay. The town doesn't contribute?
No.
Okay. Eastlink Park, the town and the county have each contributed amounts to the society or the organization that runs that ski hill, right?
Correct.
And the lease agreement that you attach at Appendix 7 on page 4, the reference is on page 4 in your statement. So your lease agreement with Eastlink Park is on page 28 of your statement. And that lease agreement is only between the town and Eastlink Park, right?
The town and the Winter Recreation, or the Whitecourt Woodlands Winter Recreation Park Society.
Yes, it's a very long name. Okay, so, and that is the society that operates the park, is that right?
That's correct. It has representation from both Whitecourt and Woodlands Council on it. Similar to the Mountain Bike Association.
Oh, the Mountain Bike Association? I'm talking about Eastlink Park, sorry.
Yeah,
I moved on.
Yeah, it has, it's ran by the society, which has representation from the town and county council.
Right, and you know that the county has an agreement directly with the society with respect to financial contributions now in place, correct?
They have a sponsorship agreement currently, not a grant agreement.
And you say in paragraph 10 that in 2016, the town and county agreed to provide the Winter Recreation Park Society with funds to cover their operating deficit, right?
Correct.
And are you aware that Eastlink Park is no longer, or at least was no longer as of last year, operating at a deficit?
As of last year?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. And if you look at paragraph 11 of your statement where you talk about snowcat maintenance, what does that $7,024 relate to?
The maintenance of the snowcat, so that's the equipment that moves the snow around on the hill. So all of the maintenance that requires, if it breaks down, if it needs new belts, if it needs tune-up, if it has a part that gets broken, that's all maintenance.
Is that done by a town mechanic?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's somebody that's already employed with the town and then does maintenance on that snowcat?
Yes.
Okay, and you've allocated that cost there, correct?
Pardon? I didn't hear the full question.
That's okay. So that's a cost the town would be bearing in any event, but it's been apportioned here as attributable to the snowcat maintenance as opposed to just that person's salary, correct?
If we didn't run a ski hill, that cost wouldn't be there. So the hours that they work on the snowcat is coded to the ski hill cost
Right, and it's
of the town.
Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
It's the town cost.
So sorry. I'm asking if it's the society that operates the ski hill.
The town owns the ski hill and has the society an operating agreement with the society. The society operates it on behalf of the town. And so this cost is bared by the town.
Right, and the water for the snowmaking, I take it that's an in-kind amount, i.e. the water that's used. You've done a breakdown of calculating if you were able to charge that to a third-party customer, what that charge would have been. Is that right?
That would be the charge for, yes, for a customer that the town bears for the operation of the ski hill.
The T-bar that was recently installed at Eastlink Park, the town did not provide for that, right?
No, we did not.
And again, no agreement as between the town and county in writing saying that the county promised to forever fund the ski hill, correct?
Correct.
You're aware, do you consider, I don't know what happened there, sorry. Were you answering another question and I didn't, and I talked over you?
No, that was someone else's voice from somewhere, not us.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at a document and not knowing what happened. Okay, so Ms. Grande, is Eastlink Park intended to be a regional facility?
It serves Whitecourt and Woodlands for sure, yes.
And anybody else?
I don't know that.
Okay. No requests for funding from any other municipalities nearby, I take it?
I don't know that.
Okay. Are you aware that there's a ski hill near Fort Assiniboine in Barrhead County called Misty Ridge?
No.
Okay. The Eastlink Park, am I correct in understanding you have to pay to go there? It's user pay?
You do need to pay to go.
Yeah. What about the curling rink that you referenced in paragraphs 13 and 14 of your statement? That's also user pay, correct?
Correct.
And I think in paragraph 20, you refer to the fact that I think you're saying it makes a profit now. You don't have to review their plans and budgets regularly, as the only cost is building envelope. So I take it that means they're at least a break even. Is that right?
In the past, they haven't had an operating deficit.
The services that are provided, in paragraph 15, you list a number of facilities. Some of them we've already talked about a little bit. So you talk about the curling rink, East Link Park, and the mountain bike park. And we've already touched on those, but just to look at a few others, Carlin Services Community Resource Center. Why is that one listed here?
Because it's the home of the gymnastics center.
Is that a user pay facility as well?
There are, yeah, there's rental and lease rates there, yes.
Okay. And then the Scott Safety Center, that's the Twin Arenas, am I right?
Correct.
And the Wolverines Junior A team play there, correct?
Correct.
And that is, I take it, there's a fee for renting ice, et cetera, there.
Correct.
And then Alan and Jane Miller Center, that's essentially the town athletics center, is that right?
Town in the county, yes.
Okay. Are you saying that's a regional facility?
Yes.
And you've received in the past, the town's received in the past contributions towards that facility from the county, correct?
Correct.
And has the town ever sought contributions from any other municipality that's nearby?
No.
You talk about on the next page, page 6, the arts and crafts building. And then you refer to being there, two things, the Potters Guild, and you give the percentage 67% and a preschool 33%. Is that the amount of space they're taking up within the building?
Correct. Square footage.
Okay. And do they each pay rent?
Yes.
Okay. And their user pay services?
They pay rent.
Are they user pay for services?
They pay rent.
No, I mean, do they offer, does the preschool, let's try this again. The preschool, does it charge the people that come to the preschool?
Yes.
And then the Potters Guild, do people have to pay to be a member or use their services?
Yes.
It's the end of the day, I'm sorry. That wasn't meant to be difficult. Okay, and then the regional parks, outdoor rinks and school fields. Those are outdoor facilities, correct? They're not constructed buildings?
There are buildings on them.
The outdoor rink, there might be like a skate shack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then school fields, of course, they'll be associated with a school, but I take it that you're talking about here, under the direction of Community Services Advisory Board, these things are included. So a school field is essentially where we might find a playground or a sports track or that kind of thing, right?
For the cost share, are you referring to, can you just tell me where you're referring to, please?
I'm still on 15, paragraph 15.
Okay.
And you just talk about the town being responsible for operating, maintaining, repairing, supervising, and programming for the
Right.
following facilities.
So for the school fields, we don't look after playgrounds. The playgrounds are the schools. It's the fields themselves. That's why I just wanted to clarify where you were.
It's okay. Okay, and so the town looks after its school fields. And then the town looks after, you reference on the last bullet, page 6, regional parks. Are you talking about Rotary Park there?
Rotary Park, Centennial Park, and Riverboat Park.
Okay. And you're aware that the county also has facilities, much like they also have outdoor rinks, school fields, and parks, correct?
Correct.
And they bear the cost of those, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Apart from Hard Luck Canyon and Groat Creek Group Campground, the town does not make cost share contributions to the county for their facilities, correct?
We provide 22,000 to Westward, to the Egg Society for Westward.
That is a hall that is associated with the rodeo, is that right?
Correct.
And Westward is that operated by a third party as well, much like, I mean, akin to East Link or the mountain bike?
I don't believe it's owned by the county. I believe it's just a third party has it. Owns and operates it.
Thanks. There's never been, am I correct in understanding there's never been an agreement between the town and county to pay for each other's outdoor facilities like the ones you've listed in paragraph 15, and specifically I'll just touch on them. So the school fields, outdoor rinks, and the regional parks,
It's in the cost sharing agreement.
the expired agreement.
Yes.
If the town would pay for the county.
No. Oh, I thought you said, sorry, could you repeat the question?
I think I just mixed up the last part of my question, actually. So are you saying that the regional parks, school fields, and outdoor rinks are in the cost share agreement?
Yes.
And the town was to receive funds from the county for those facilities within the town?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up the cost share agreement. I'm just looking at Mr. Snell's general evidence statement dated June 30th, and I'm specifically at tab 11, which is the cost sharing agreement from 2008. If we could just pull that up, please.
Sorry, what tab? Oh, never mind.
Tab 11, page 30, I don't know, sorry. I'll go back just a second. It's on page 28. So is this the cost sharing agreement you're talking about, Ms. Grande?
I'll have to look at the schedule, but I believe it is.
Are you looking at, sorry, which schedule are you looking for?
If you scroll down, there's a schedule attached. So you'll have to, it's probably outlined in the the amendment, the 2000 and.
One at tab 12, the 2013?
Thinking it is, yeah.
Okay, let's go there.
Sorry, just.
Fine, no problem. Are you looking at Schedule C?
Yes.
Okay, so on Schedule C, I have it at page 46, Ms. Antler. There.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking under recreation.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to there?
Yes. So it's less neighborhood outdoor rinks and less neighborhood parks. So all other parks are included. Town net costs of parks and recreation, less net costs of local parks and outdoor rinks at neighborhood parks and then it's outdoor rinks there. So those are different. Neighborhood parks are different. Neighborhood parks are our parks and playgrounds within the communities in the town.
And you're talking about when you say outdoor rinks, including those at school sites in paragraph 15. You're saying those are captured or they're different than the neighborhood outdoor rinks there?
Neighborhood outdoor rinks aren't captured. We don't, those aren't cost shared.
Okay, so, okay, let me just, when I'm looking at paragraph 15, you're saying that the bullet outdoor rinks, including those at school sites, are a no for cost share, but the school fields are included in cost share, you're saying?
Yeah, the school fields are, the parks.
And you're saying regional parks are cost shared?
Yes, yep.
Only with the county and not any other municipality, correct?
Correct.
And the town's made no request of any other municipality to cost share, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks. Paragraph 9. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to paragraph 18 for just one moment. I think it's because this paragraph is long that I have trouble following where you're going with this. I just want to make sure that I understand what you're saying about trails. What are you saying about trails and cost sharing in paragraph 18?
You said 19 before. Do you mean 18 or
I
19?
did mean 18. I'm sorry. I said, let's go back to 18. You might not have heard me. I might have been mumbling. Sorry. So I'm in 18 and there's specifically 2/3 of the way down the paragraph. You say in the past, Woodlands County did not cost share in neighborhood outdoor rinks, neighborhood playgrounds. And then there's a semicolon and we've got the enhancement grant program. And then you've got trails and Rotary Park Capital.
Yeah, those are what they haven't cost shared in the past.
Okay. So all of that is excluded, you're saying?
Correct. In the past.
Okay.
Ms. Roberts, we have 2 minutes to go. Are you asking to extend today or what's your plan?
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost track of time. I apologize. Well, I'm gonna see if I might be able to finish if we. Oh, I think well, I'm prepared to try to finish, but I don't think I'm gonna be less than 15 minutes. So I'm in your hands, Ms. Howes.
Mr. Ward?
We're certainly prepared to stay. We'd obviously like to finish. I'm a bit concerned about the time we have allocated, so I'd like to get done if that's possible.
I agree. Okay, so let's soldier on.
Okay, thank you. You say in paragraph 19 that the party in the park event, you say the town believes this event should properly form part of the new ICF. You see that?
Yes.
And you say there that it's attended by county residents and provides a general benefit. I take it that's the town's opinion, right?
Correct.
And you then say it helps attract and retain new businesses, industry, doctors, lawyers, accountants, and other professionals. Do you have any evidence to support that?
We've had some of those professionals tell us that they have moved to our community because of the events such as Party in the Park.
Okay. And that's the extent of the evidence?
Yes.
There was no Party in the Park for 2020, am I right?
Correct.
It's in September, is that correct?
No, it's now in June.
Okay, sorry. Historically, was it in September? I might just have a really bad memory.
Yeah, it was in September for quite a while, and then it moved to June because of weather. They thought the weather would be better in June.
Okay, and so I take it then, was there one this June in 2021?
No.
All right. Again, there was no written agreement obliging the county to cost share that item, I take it.
No.
Thanks. Can I have you look at appendix 16 to your recreation statement? I have it as page 179. Yeah, there, sorry, 180. Do you know who prepared this document?
I did.
You prepared it?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and some of these services that are listed here, you have school grounds, and then regional recreation programming, and you list a number of events. That's about 60% of the way down the page. I take it you came up with the headings included in previous cost share, unique and regional. Is that right?
Correct.
And where you call these services or facilities regional, am I correct that for each of them, there have been no requests by the town for contributions from any other region than Woodlands County?
Correct.
Okay. And you've reviewed the recreation statement from Kara Kennedy for the county, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you're aware that Ms. Kennedy outlined some facilities that were similar to some of the facilities that or resources that you've listed in this inventory, correct?
Correct.
And so who made the determination if something was unique?
The town did. We did.
Okay,
It meant it wasn't in other areas, didn't have the same level.
okay, so you have two criteria, I take it. So one is, does it exist? Let's use the county as the comparator. So if it doesn't exist in the county, you're going to say yes to the unique, is that right?
So unique means, like, it just says it right under the chart. Unique means not offered in the other community at all or offered at a higher level quality than the other community. It's right under the chart there.
Right, but my question was who decided, and I think you told me it's the town, so that would have been you and somebody else from the town, I take it.
Correct.
Okay, and so your two criteria are it's either not available at all, or you think yours is better.
Well, a higher level. I wouldn't say a higher level of quality.
Okay. So you say that the tubing takeout is unique, but the county has a tubing put in, right?
So I have that they have a tubing takeout, and then I have that the county has a tubing put in, and they don't have a takeout. So the county has a put in, but they're not in the previous cost share because we both have one.
Right, and is there maintenance costs associated with the tubing takeout?
Yes.
And are those included in the administrative overhead calculation for future cost share that Ms. Barney has prepared?
No,
Were they ever included in the past as apportionments other than through your salary? I take it your salary wasn't reduced by that amount, correct?
that infrastructure has looked after that. So my salary, there isn't, I wasn't involved. My salary wouldn't be, this isn't in the cost share.
Okay, including through infrastructure.
Correct.
So the assessment of the level or quality, that was subjective by members of the town, or did you have some outside expert assess that?
For some, we had feedback from some of the organizations that utilize the facilities, I guess. But mostly it was just the town or the county when we had discussions, because we discussed this during the negotiations, so.
This document wasn't created during negotiation, correct?
Yes, it was. It wasn't created, we discussed it at negotiations in the meetings.
This document's not been agreed upon by the county though, correct?
Correct.
This is the town's document for the purposes of this arbitration, correct?
Correct, but we did discuss it. Yeah, yeah.
There was never any agreement reached on the recreation item in the negotiations, right?
Correct.
Can I have you look at paragraph 28 of your statement, please? There's no, you refer to a joint venture. You say specifically, the buildings and operations of all Whitecourt facilities were a joint venture and were sized and budgeted for in consideration of growing populations in both Whitecourt and Woodlands County. I take it that was the town's approach to building and operational costs and budgeting, correct?
That was actually during the design stages with both Whitecourt and Woodlands present in those design stages, specifically for the Ellen and Jean Miller Center.
There's
And
no joint, oh, sorry.
And the Carland services, like both the town and the county were involved in those designs.
The Carland, I always forget the name of that. I'm really sorry. The Carland building that I can't remember the name of, the Carland Services Community Resource Center. Are the only tenants there currently the gymnastics and the, I think it was after school. Is that what you told me? Or daycare?
Daycare. No, there's also FCSS offices over there and the food bank.
Right, a portion of the FCSS. And the food bank is funded through grant funding, I take it?
Through donations and grants, yes.
And there was no joint venture agreement, correct?
Can you explain your question a little bit, please?
Well, a joint venture agreement is a contract.
For which portion, I guess, for what, I'm not sure.
Let's go back to 28. It says in paragraph 28 that the building and operations were a joint venture, and a joint venture is a legal creature. So I'm specifically asking you if such a thing existed between the town and the county with respect to the building and operations of all these facilities that you're referring to. And I don't believe it does, but maybe you know something I don't.
The only thing would be the cost sharing agreement.
Okay. What happened to the Boys and Girls Club? Did it used to be in Carland Services Community Resources Center?
It did, but it is no longer there.
Okay. And I take it that building is in the cost share. It was previously contributed to by the county?
Correct.
Do you have documents to support the statement you make in 28, in paragraph 28?
There's lots of joint liaison minutes, council minutes. And the design shows that what they were sized at.
Okay, so am I correct in understanding that if there was an agreement, it would have been in writing and it would have been one of the agreements that form part of this arbitration?
Yes.
Okay. It's the point of paragraph 1 to make it the Whitecourt Curling Society have a better facility so that it's unique relative to the one that's available in one of the county locations.
Sorry, paragraph 1.
31, sorry. I can see why you sounded confused, Mr. Ward. Just as the facility operated by the Whitecourt Curling Society has 5 curling sheets, a lounge, bar, lobby, and commercial kitchen. And I'm just wondering if the reason that you say that is to distinguish it from curling facilities that are available in the county.
It's just a description of the curling rink. So that Miss House was aware of what was in the curling rink.
But you call it unique in tab 16 on page 180. And there is a curling rink in the county, which you do not mention, correct?
Correct. The ones I list here are in the cost share area. They're that on the sheet were in the old cost share area.
Can I have you look at appendix 20 to your statement, please? It's at page 412 and then onward a little bit.
You can see that on the screen.
I can see this bigger.
If I have you, so we're going to look at 412, but before we get there, I'd like us to look at 413, or sorry, 414. That colorful graph, there we go. The recreation user stats. Now this table looks a little different because you've broken it up by color. But otherwise, we have a similar, I take it we have a similar process as we had with most recently FCSS, before that with some other areas, including we started with transit, where you look at people's addresses and you figure out where they are likely from, correct?
Correct, for the Allen and Jean Miller Center line, yes.
Right. And so if I look at the bottom chart on this page, the AJMC calculation, that is the Allen and Jean Miller Center. That's what AJMC stands for.
Correct.
Okay. And so you have their total client records in report, almost 16,000. Do you see that?
Correct.
Right. And then that correlates to tab 21, correct? And just Ms. Entler, before you go there, this is a redacted copy of this statement, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. Then you can go there. Uh-oh. So my version starts at 415. Okay. So this document's really long, Ms. Grande, and so I have mine starting on page 415 and ending on page 568. So there's lots of pages of this, but I think, did you have a hand at all in creating this document or having it prepared?
Yes.
Okay, so you're familiar with it, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, and the document, essentially, if I understand your statement correctly, this document is a list of everybody during a period of time that registered either for a program or a class, or was a member of the Alan Jean Miller Center. Is that right?
Yes, a unique client, so they're only counted once.
Right.
So it's, yeah,
Yeah, and the number of entries, I have not counted, I'll confess, but is the number of entries that total client records in the page 414 that we were just looking at, that 15,998?
yes,
So those would be individual clients, only named once in there, correct?
correct.
Okay. And does the town, or specifically the Alan Jean Miller Center, not track membership numbers?
We don't track, like, I don't, we've had, so I don't know what for membership numbers you're talking about, I guess. Could you explain further what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Here, we can't break it apart. We had, if that's what you mean, we can't break it apart. What happened was we had a different system. It was called the class system. We moved to intelligence. We could only roll over the client records. So these are client records. And so that's what this is. And so what that is a client record is anytime someone has registered, like made a registered payment. So it would either be for a membership or for a program. So that's all we have here.
So this list of 16,000-ish people, or registrants, I'll call them, they do not include anybody who got a free membership, is that right?
We don't offer free memberships.
So when Ms. Barney told me that there are complimentary memberships to the Alan Jean Miller Center for town employees, is that incorrect?
They're not complimentary. The Ellen, I did watch a little bit of that. They aren't complimentary. What they are is the employees pay for a membership through the benefit program. Depending what department they're in, then that benefit that is transferred over as membership revenue for the Ellen and Jean Miller Center.
Is it discounted?
No.
So what about the firefighters?
So that would come from so every firefighter would pay that as part of their benefits, would be a benefit, and then that revenue would be transferred over into the Ellen and Jean Miller Center revenue line under membership revenue.
And then that's collected either through the benefits under the administrative overhead that's now being calculated, or it was calculated through the cost to operate the Alan Jean Miller Center in the past cost share. Am I right?
I'm not, sorry, I'm not following that. Could you explain?
Sure, I'll do one at a time. So the first one was in the administrative overhead, those benefits and salaries, the cost of purchasing those memberships would be included in the allocation that Ms. Barney's department makes for recreation that's attributable to the county, right?
A portion would be, yes.
And in the past, the cost of providing that membership would be a part of what it cost the town, I take it, to operate. Is that right? So,
I'm not understanding the question.
so the benefit, let's say the membership costs $50 a month. So it's $600 a year for an employee. That $600 you're saying gets taken off of a person's paycheck and paid over into the revenue for Alan Jean Miller Center with no discount. Is that correct?
Not quite. It's part, it doesnn't come off their check. But the amount would be, the amount part is correct. So the amount would be transferred over to the Alan and Jean Miller Center as revenue.
And the town pays for that entirely. No portion of that is ever allocated to cost share in the past.
Well, yeah, that's correct. But it's a revenue, so I don't know if I need to explain that. It's a revenue that comes into the Allen and Jean Miller Center, so it makes the deficit lower. So it brings down the amount that the county has to cost share on.
But from whom does it come into the Allen Jean Miller Center?
So for example, if infrastructure, say, for example, the people that are doing street maintenance, and they're employed by the town, they would get an Allen and Jean Miller Center membership. So each one of those people doing street maintenance, every month, that amount for their membership would come into the Allen and Jean Miller Center as revenue. That then would make the deficit of the Allen and Jean Miller Center smaller, and in turn, the county would be paying less for the cost share because you have this guaranteed revenue coming in as membership.
What about the volunteer firefighters? When Miss Barney said that she believed they also received a membership, do you have any knowledge of how that worked?
So they would be on the list that we would receive from payroll to receive Allen and Jean Miller Center memberships, and we would then make those available, and that revenue would come through to the Allen and Jean Miller Center.
So, and that revenue is the cost of operating the recreation facility, or that portion, the Allen Jean Miller Center costs, operating costs?
No.
No. Okay. Where's it coming from?
Could you explain your question?
Where's the money coming from? Is it payroll?
What money?
The money that goes to the Allen Jean Miller Center that gets booked as a revenue.
It comes in as membership. It's in the membership figure in the budget line.
Right, and where does it come from?
So for example, if it's an infrastructure employee, it comes from infrastructure budget.
All right. Okay, and so I think my question started with, why do you not have broken out membership numbers so we can figure out how many people are members and how many people might have just registered once? What I think I heard you say was that the town changed the way that it recorded the information. You used something that I heard as class, although I might have misheard it, and then you moved to something called intelligence, or maybe it was the other way around. You changed systems for recording the data. What you have in tab 21 are client records, and what you've done in tab 20 on page 414 is calculate the total number of clients, and you can't tell me how many of those people have memberships versus, so it might be what I'll call repeat customers, versus how many people might have signed up once, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware from an unredacted copy of tab 21 that some of these people aren't even from the province, correct?
Correct.
And that's because they might have signed up at one point for one class and otherwise never used the Allen Jean Miller Center. Is that right?
No.
Okay. You're going to need to tell me how I'm wrong, please.
A lot of people that come use the Allen and Jean Miller Center may work for the industry. So they are working for an industry in town or in the county. And so they purchase a membership for the time that they're here working and utilize that, or they may have signed up for a class. So it's different, and they may have signed up for several classes. I can't tell you that. Also projects, for example, when the crew was here working on the road, some of the county roads, that crew had purchased memberships at the Allen and Jean Miller Center, and they weren't all from Whitecourt or Alberta. So
And I think my question was they might, so I think you've said the same thing I said, just longer. So that's fine, but the question that I also want to ask is, how is it not possible for you to break out the membership numbers now that you actually have a database that I assume operates for you?
We haven't been open for, because of COVID for the last, like, for 2021 and 2020, there's been lots of times that we haven't been open. So we haven't compiled those numbers.
Okay, and I take it previously your system didn't let you calculate that information, is that right?
It did, but it was lost. Like I said, we did a rollover. All they could roll over was the client records. And then we did present some information to the county during just some percentages during negotiations. It was lost. We had a virus that actually took out the whole backup database for the other system. So.
Okay, when did that happen?
Oh, it was right around, I talked to, the county was aware of it. I don't know the exact date of it. It was just after we after we transitioned to the new software. So I think it was in 2019.
Okay, I won't wed you to a date. I just wanted a general sense. Okay, if we can turn to page 412, please. This is the recreation administrative overhead. Based on what you just said about membership numbers, I take it that the proposed way of calculating the county contribution for recreation will follow what's on page 412, right?
Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
It's proposed, I understood Ms. Barney's evidence to be that including administrative overhead is going to be the way that the town would like to apportion cost sharing as between the town and the county. Is that also your understanding?
I think so.
Okay, and so, and that's one portion of the cost sharing. I'm just saying that that's the method by which they're going to calculate a portion of the contribution amount. Are you still with me?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So on page 412, this is the one that applies to recreation. You agree with me there?
Yes.
And we have 4 departments for which salaries and benefits are calculated to be apportioned in the amount of 19.15% or almost 20%. And the total number plus administrative expenses of $113,319 is $549,216. See that?
Correct.
Okay, and included in the salaries and benefits, I take it, if I understood your evidence earlier correctly, now the amounts that the town spends on the benefit of having a membership at the Alan Jean Miller Center, when that revenue goes over to the Alan Jean Miller Center, it will also be captured here as part of the benefits. Is that right?
Could you repeat that question, please?
The memberships in the Alan Jean Miller Center for town employees, and I understand this also may apply to contractors, but let's just stick with employees for now. So town employees who are eligible to get a membership at the Alan Jean Miller Center, revenue shows up in the budget line for Alan Jean Miller Center, and it comes from somewhere. I take it your understanding is that it would be attributed to as a benefit. Is that right?
Correct.
So then it would show up under salaries and benefits. Am I right?
Correct.
So it would be here as part of this 549,216, correct?
A portion of it, yeah, correct.
Okay. And that is separate and apart from the coding of your salary. Specifically, if let's just use your 60-40 number that you think it might be. I'm not wedding you to those numbers. I'm just saying that's your best recollection. So let's say it's 60%. 60% is going to be apportioned entirely to the cost of delivering the recreation services, and that will then also be cost shared, correct?
Correct.
With respect to paragraph 38 of your statement, here, paragraph 38 is on page 9. Do you know what year these numbers are from? These are the Eastlink Park numbers. And similarly in 37. These are not the numbers that the county received when it inquired with Eastlink Park. So I'm just wondering where you got these 56% and 44% numbers.
That's the, if you take the average of 2018 and 2019 stats that we received from them.
And did you ask for the more current stats?
I don't think we had received the most current stats. I saw them in Kara's report.
And no reason to believe that those numbers are incorrect. The ones that Ms. Kennedy reported came from Eastlink Park.
Pardon?
Oh, mountain bike. I'm sorry. The ones that, hold on a second. I'm just going to take you to Ms. Kennedy's report in fairness to you. It's been a long day.
Are you talking, you were talking about Eastlink, right?
I was, and
Okay.
sorry, I think it's actually might be Ms. Anderson's report now that I think back to it. Sorry. In any event, the statistics that you saw reported for 2021, no reason to be concerned that they were not correct when you saw them in the county's statement.
I would assume that Kara would put in what she received.
Great. Okay, thanks. That's all I needed to know. I just want to have a look at your paragraph. Paragraphs 39 and 40, you talk about the cost sharing principles that are set out by AUMA, and then also in 40 RMA, so rural and urban municipal associations. And you have a reference there in page, I'm just going to try and find it in our documents here. I think it's 574, but I'll try to locate it first. Oh, maybe wrong there. Yeah, the RM, sorry, the RMA position statement on page 574, which you referenced in paragraph 40, and it's your tab 23. This document clearly distinguishes between urban and rural servicing, community servicing, correct? So, for example, under what collaborative relationships are essential to developing quality rural and community services? And it talks about lower population density, et cetera, in that first bullet there. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And you're aware that, and the first bullet on the first top of that page where it says rural municipalities rely on property taxes as a major funding component, you're aware of that specifically with respect to Woodlands County too, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know that the county relies on tax revenue?
It says as a major funding component. I don't know.
Okay. You agree that the county and the town must make their own decisions about servicing, correct?
Correct.
Other than through the Community Services Advisory Board, does the town do direct consulting with the county, sorry, with respect to the town's decisions around recreation programming, or is it just all through the board?
As I mentioned before, administration has discussions and have meetings and work on, go through the budgets together.
How often does that happen?
It really varies depending on how things are.
The budget discussions usually happen around, I take it when budgets are being prepared, correct?
September, October,
Yeah, so does it happen annually?
usually.
The decision makers about what services are provided and whether the municipality will increase or decrease spending on that ultimately has to be approved by council for each municipality, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And they are intended to be autonomous. There's no amalgamation here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just need 2 minutes, please, and I can then hopefully end this. If I may, Ms. House.
Yep.
Ms. Grande, I just have one last question for you, which is around we talked about the 26.5%, which you said was the amount that the town was using based on 2016 census data. Is that right?
We haven't used that number.
Okay, sorry. So you're saying that's what you think the number should be is 26.5, and that is based on the 2016 census? Am I correct about that?
That if you're talking about the old cost share, in that agreement, if you look at that old cost share agreement, based on the 2016 census, it should be 26.5.
Okay, how did you come up with the 26.5 using the 2016 census data?
It was imported from the Revenue Canada, from the Stats Canada website.
So if I went to the Stats Canada website, I'd be able to find 26.5%.
You'd be able to find the raw data to import it in, which will show where residents lie in the county. And then look at cost shares of areas 1, 2, and 50% of 3.
And that was by census area, not by actual location of their residence, correct?
You can import the census data into a map. It does show location of their households.
From the 26,
Dwellings.
sorry?
Yeah, it shows the location of dwellings.
Okay, great, thank you. Those are all my questions for you. Thank you very much, Ms. Grande.
Mr. Ward?
Thank you, Ms. House. I have nothing arising.
I have no questions either. Ms. Grande, I want to thank you very much for your attendance here and all the time you've spent with us. Council, is there any other questions, any other areas we're asking Ms. Grande about, or is she free to go now? She's free to go.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You're free to go.
Thank you. I just leave my stuff and get it later. Okay.
Do that anyway.
Okay, we're due back on September the 7th at 9 o'clock. And what's our plan then?
I believe it's just Mr. Smil.
Okay. We'll see you at 9 o'clock on September the 7th then. Anything
Ms.
else?
House, did you by any chance receive the Exhibit 33 email? Actually, I can follow up with you afterwards to make sure. I didn't get a bounce back again, but if it's not coming through, I'll deal with that afterwards, Ms. House.
I did not get it.
Okay, okay, we'll make sure you do. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you.
Poltergeist email.
Bye.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.